G'day everyone, welcome back to another edition of Guvs Hero Review videos. Today we are going to continue in our Mutant series, taking a look at the 5-star legendary green heroine, Venus, the Tracksuit Flytrap Cultivator. I swear these names are getting longer and longer. Venus is available for summons, as we saw there, from the Mutant portal, which is attached to the Mutant Mayhem Challenge Event, which in turn rolls around once every 16 weeks. It is on a month-on rotation with 3 other challenge events, so, you know, 1 challenge event every 4 weeks, and there's 4 challenge events. The Mutant Mayhem is the newest of the challenge events, but there is still theoretically 1 missing. We don't have a blue reflect event as yet, but who knows if or when it is ever actually going to be added to the game. In terms of this portal's odds, it's consistent with the other challenge events, but it's not great odds. So we do have a 1% chance of drawing either of the featured event heroes and a 0.6% chance of drawing any one of the unfeatured event heroes. So what that means in perspective is if you do 100 summons in this portal, you have a 63% chance of summoning either of the 2 featured event heroes, and you've got a 45.2% chance of summoning any of the unfeatured heroes. So there's 8 legendary heroes in this portal, so 2 of them are featured, means 6 unfeatured ones. So those odds do drop off considerably if you're looking to summon a specific unfeatured hero. Yeah, so Venus was added to the game in September 2023 alongside Syntax about a year after the initial release of the event in October 2022. The family in the portal was expanded 2 other times, once in March 2023 and most recently in January 2024. I'm going to flip over and we can take a look at her artwork. So this is her artwork. She's got the tracksuit going on. She's got some fly traps that she is cultivating in a backpack, as well as one around her head. Is it? I don't know. Maybe that's just a weird tracksuit design, but there we go. Is her artwork. So pause it and review at your own leisure. So thank you to Panini NFT Master for passing this one along. Yeah, very helpful. Venus is a member of the Mutant Goons family, or the Mutant family, which means that she has a 10% chance to cast one of 3 effects whenever using her special skill. So one of the 3 effects are random, which one you're going to get. So option 1 is to apply an attack and accuracy bonus for plus 140 attack and plus 44% accuracy to all allies for 3 turns. Option 2 is the debuff shield, which prevents all allies from gaining new ailments for 3 turns. And option 3 is the damage over time reversal, which converts DOT ailments into providing healing for 3 turns rather than the listed damage. So a little bit confusing, especially confusing when you encounter it on a defense team. It's hard to know which version is procced until you actually see the buffs actually appearing on the heroes. So they are fairly good. Option 3 is probably the worst. Option 2 is probably the best, but fairly solid. These heroes from the Mutant family also gain a stat bonus to their attack and defense for plus 2, 4, 6, 8% attack and defense if there is 2, 3, 4, or 5 unique members of the Mutants family in a battle. So they do have to be unique heroes. You can't bring 2 copies of Venus along, so it's got to be 2 different heroes, such as Venus and Syntax or Venus and Mothor, for example. In terms of her personal stats, Venus comes in with 759 attack, 726 defense, and 1499 HP. So there is a little bit of skewing from her defense towards her HP stat, but it is only marginal. It's not massive. Her charge speed is set to 54, which is average speed, requiring 10 tiles to charge or 5 ghosted tiles. The speed break does need to get up plus 4, which you can do using the Trailblazer SVK, a 5-star green speed weapon giving plus 6. It is the only green speed weapon in the game at this moment, so you are a little bit limited. And the class node on her talent is completely irrelevant. It doesn't get as double break, it's not enough to get the single break, so it's not really worth converting emblems to get that 2% speed node for her. Interestingly though, even if there was a plus 9 speed gun, the class node still is not enough to get a double break. So yeah, completely irrelevant, even down the track if a 9 gun does get added. On the topic of her class, Venus is a member of the Medic class, which grants her the chance to heal all allies for 7% health after receiving any damage. It's a very handy perk, this one. It offers free healing for any instance of damage that you could take. The damage can be from any source. It can be from minions. It can be from ailments. It can be from tiles. It can be from slash attacks. It can be from literally anything. But the downside is that there can only be one instance of healing per turn. So it doesn't matter how many types of damage you take, how many times you take damage. She can only proc the Medic class once in a turn. So a little bit less useful. By way of an emblem path, I would recommend going a HP and defense path. This is going to increase her survival as a healer, but also bulk her minions out a tiny bit. So what this looks like on a tree, please pretend that this hero is Venus, not Jargle, because I don't have Venus. So we are going to go a defense and HP route. So prioritizing HP over defense if there's a choice between the two directions. So we'll go defense HP at the first direction, we'll go HP next, and then we'll go the attack and HP node. We go HP, HP, and then HP and defense. You can probably stop it there at plus 18. The 19 and 20 options, they're not great. We've got crit and we've got speed, neither of which are hugely beneficial, and the plus 20 healing node is probably not worth the 375 emblems to get from 18 to 20. So yeah, that would be the path that I would follow for Venus. Just pretend it's Venus, not Jargle there. Delete that so we don't have it for the next one. So yeah, heading back over to the portal and her card, we can take a look at her special skill. Her special skill is titled Healing Fly Traps, and at level 10 skill and 54 charge speed, it will heal 420 health for all allies, and then summon a fly trap minion for all allies with 15% health inherited from the caster. The Flytrap minion will then recover 9% of the caster's HP for its owner at the end of each turn. So the healing regeneration per turn is based on Venus's 1499 health. The Flytrap minion will also provide its owners plus 75 attack and plus 75 defense. So splitting that apart a little bit, there is a bit going on even with her healing side of things. So I'm going to start with just her direct healing, and then we can move on to the other aspects. So in terms of her direct healing, Venus does 420 health for 5 turns. Sorry, back that up a little bit. In terms of green healers, Venus comes in insanely well. She comes in with 322 total healing that she does per tile. So this is not just the 420 direct heal, but also the 224 health of each of the minions that she supplies to each ally. So each ally is essentially getting 644 health instantly, and then an additional 134 health regenerated per turn. That's insane. It's a very, very good healer. Like, you can see the other options in green. You've got the next best is Top Hog, Crockett, Throttle variant, and so on and so forth on the heal per tile. Venus is, when she was released, and still is to this day, the only 5-star direct green heal. Previous to Venus, we were relying on heroes like Wyatt and Throttle to gain that healing in green element. So very, very good green healer. Interestingly, she is actually also the best combined healer in the entire game. Yes, that is including Pulse. Venus actually does more combined healing per tile than Pulse does when you factor in both the direct heal and the minions. So there is 51 total pseudo/direct healers in the game. And then, yeah, she comes in at number 1. And that's without even factoring in that extra 134 health per turn from the Flytrap minions healing. So, yeah. If we remove the pseudo heal, though, and we just look at her in terms of a direct heal component, it does drop her off a little bit. We can see on this chart that she comes in at number 7 of the 5-star direct healers. This sort of situation is rare to arise. There's very few occasions when you're going to be doing it with... I don't think there are any occasions when you're going to be doing heal without the minions. But what is important, though, is when you consider just the minion aspect, because this does happen in Bloody Battle. Bloody Battle fights, you do lose the healing, but she does keep the minions. And in this situation, when you just look at her minions only, she comes in at a fairly respectable number 4 grade of the minion makers in the game. So there is the potential for this to happen. Minions still count in bloody battle tournaments, so she is a very good healing option, or pseudo healing option, to still bring along for those bloody battle fights. And we can see her coming in there at number 4 of the available 4 and 5-star minion makers in the game. That pretty much covers off all of the healing and the minion aspects. So touching really briefly on the attack and defense buffs provided by the Flytrap minion, it is pretty paltry. It's only 75 attack and 75 defense, which is less than 10% buff for either of the stats if you look at Venus's effects. It's not much. It is something. It does interestingly count as 2 buffs towards the buff booster tournament rules. I'd probably have preferred if they'd just given the minions a flat 10% attack. And that way the minions proc that attack damage each turn, rather than somehow trying to apply it back as a buff to the owners of the minion. So anyway, Venus is an out-and-out healer. She is extremely good at that. Like, very, 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 very good at that. She does make as I mentioned, the final 5-star direct hero, final color of the direct healing 5-star heroes. We didn't have one before Venus. We had one in all the other colors except for green. The minion itself, it is very good on its own when you consider it as a pseudo heal in tournament settings, which is a function mostly of a high base HP stat and her reasonably quick speed. She is lacking a little bit because she doesn't have a cleanse or a debuff, which makes healers have that added layer of versatility beyond just healing the allies. She also doesn't really have any beneficial buffs, such as, you know, you've got Jocasta who's got a speed buff that she gives off, or El Coyote who gives a defense against special skill. She doesn't really have a notable secondary buff like a lot of the other healers have. So both of these things, they do drop her down a little bit as to where she could have been, but we can't lose sight of the fact that she has out and out the best combined healing score in the game. So for War and Raid attacks, I'm going to give her an A-. She is only a healer, as I mentioned, so it is hard to give her higher than that grade because she doesn't have that added versatility. For War Machines, I'm going to give her a B-. It's only a healer. There's no real contribution to the damage side of things. Same thing with events. There is a healing bonus in the scoring, so being a very good healer does lend towards that final score, but yeah, B+ for that. For Raid and War defenses, I'm going to give her an A-. Her best position is probably at flank. However, in the current meta, she could be an alternative. She is a fairly effective alternative to a Yuumi in the tank position, but I see her best spot as being flank. So A- for War and Raid defenses. For tournament settings, she does still get a bloody battle grade because she's a minion generator, so she does get a B+ for attack and a B+ for defense. So she does lose the healing, but she stays as a very effective pseudo healer. So, but then again, has no secondary effects. So it's a little bit up and down kind of thing in terms of where she flattens out, but a B+ for bloody battle attack and a B+ for bloody battle defenses. For Buff Booster, I'm going to bump her back up to the A- for attack grade and also give her an A- for defense grade because of those 2 buffs that the minions make. And finally, in Charged Attack, I'm going to keep her at an A- for attack and an A- for defense because she does gain some speed improvement. So overall, that comes in at a B+ for Venus's attack grade and an A- for Venus's defense grade. So yeah, very good healer, and that concludes all the content that I've got for this review of Venus. So thank you once again for joining me. These are, as always, just my personal opinions on these heroes. I do love hearing your thoughts and feedback on them, so please jump down to the comments section, drop me a note. I love hearing them, and I try to reply to as many of as I can. If you did like the video and found it to be useful, like the video, subscribe to my channel, but most importantly, share the video around, because if it was useful for you, chances are it's going to be useful to the other people you play with as well. Thanks once again for joining me. I do hope that I will see you again soon in another video, but until then, good luck, stay safe, and happy gaming. Cheers, bye!